this video, I'm going to show you how to go through the carbon dioxide emitted versus sequestered lab. So the purpose of this lab is really to compare two spaces, one where a lot of carbon dioxide is being emitted or given off and put into the atmosphere versus one area that probably has a lot of plants that are actually sequestering, meaning pulling carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere and turning it into something like wood or root material and things like that. So, or using it as as part of photosynthesis and making it back into oxygen. So, an area that's emitting carbon dioxide versus an area that's sequestering carbon dioxide. So, go ahead and read through this whole background information, but essentially it's going to take you to this website that has maps of different areas in the United States that you can look up what the carbon footprint of the average home in the area is. So if I'm going to go onto this, we could pick something like I was going to pick one of these. I'm going to go with Ukaipa. So if I'm going to go down here to the middle and go to Ukaipa, then I'm going to go to Ukaipa, which is in San Bernardino County, California. You can see it's in a mostly green, not the darkest possible green, but it's a green space. And over to the right, you can see that the average home in Ukaipa, California is putting off about 44.4 metric tons of CO2 per household a year. So you're going to take that and you're going to go ahead and screenshot that whole thing and include that in your lab so that we know that's your comparative space. So once you're done with that, you're going to come back and you're going to insert that into your lab. And then you're going to go to, and that's your comparative space, like how much is being given off. Then you're going to go into a space to see how much carbon dioxide is being sequestered in a certain area. So if I was going to do that, I already started a project here. I'm going to click Get Started. And it keeps taking me back to this page. So I am going to see if it will let me go home and start a fully new space because it saved my space from last time. Okay, it's not. The beginning of the report basically shows you how to click through these, where you click draw the boundary and you'll draw a boundary around this space. And then it will tell you how to hit next. After you're done drawing the boundary around the space, you'll hit next and it'll highlight your page, and then you'll hit next through these different prompts until you get to the page that we're on, which is the plus sign. So here I picked a school and I drew my boundary around it, and then I clicked through all the different spaces. And the system is going to randomly put down a crosshairs and ask me what's going on at that crosshairs. So I am going to respond and say what's going on at it. So here it put down, now it's already has an X over here. You'll always look at the crosshairs that are in the very middle of your screen. So it's this one. And this one, it appears to be on a tree. So I'm going to hit tree and I'm going to save that point and I'm going to hit plus, and it'll give me a new spot in my area that I defined randomly. And that looks like grass to me. So I'm going to just hit that it's grass and I'm going to save it. And then hit this small plus sign, not this bigger one that zooms it in, this small plus sign. And I'm notice I have several crosshairs now. I'm going to be looking at the crosshairs that are in the middle of my screen. This also appears to be on a tree to me. So I'm going to hit tree. It's already on that. So I'm going to hit save and do a crosshair again. And now it looks like it's on just dirt. So I'm going to say that that's on soil or bare ground and hit save and hit a plus sign. And now this is on a building. So I'm going to say that it's on impervious building. That means water can't get through. And I'm going to hit save and I'm going to hit a plus sign. And then I'm going to go over here and it looks like we're in someone's backyard in this picture and that it might be near a tree. I'm going to say that's on a tree. It looks like the edge of a tree. And now the crosshairs is back on a building. So I'm going to say impervious building and hit plus until I'm on another building and hit plus. And now it's got me back in some trees. And now if you can see, don't get confused by the crosshairs. If you don't know where to go, always look in the very center of your screen, like center from the top to bottom and across. So we're right here near the map of the United States on the ground, and that is impervious road. So ground that water can't get through. And this one is on impervious ground underneath that moving car. You could say impervious other, but I'm going to say underneath the car is ground. And then I'm going to say we're on this crosshairs because it's in the middle. It's more in the middle, and that's on a tree. And I'm going to save it. Okay. So according to the lab, you need to do at least 100 points. Once you've done 100 points, and you can see that you have ID'd 15 here, you are going to save that, and you are going to go to the report. You can also save within the system, but I have found that sometimes it doesn't seem to save it very well. This is where it gives you your full report of how many points you surveyed, and this is not giving me very good data right now because I only did 15 points. You are going to do a lot more points than that. However, it'll tell you how much carbon monoxide, which is really bad, is removed out of the air annually by this space, how much nitrogen dioxide, how much ozone is removed annually, sulfur dioxide, particulate matter, etc. And it also will give you a value, a financial value that area has. So the amount of carbon, this is the report that's really the most important one. The amount of carbon that is sequestered annually in trees is going to be $1,058 worth of carbon that is taken out of the atmosphere. And specifically, it is going to show you how much it's taking out and pulling out of the atmosphere every year. So you'll be using that information to complete the rest of your report and to compare the two areas. So right here is where you'll really pay attention on the report, which is right here, and you'll put a screenshot of that equivalent. So try to remember that the T stands for tons, and that's how many metric tons. So in the end, you'll end up comparing, does that piece of land that it has a lot of green trees and plants, does that make up for the amount of carbon dioxide given off by the average home in your area? So some people might even want to just look at the property of their own home. So for example, if the average home in Yucaipa is putting off 44 metric tons of carbon dioxide, does the amount of trees and grass and plants that you have in the backyard, does that take out the amount of carbon dioxide that your house is putting off? So, a lot of people, if you own a home or you've lived in a home or rent a home, you might want to compare that home space. If you don't, or there's like a safety issue to not list that, then you might want to compare a park or some other green space and see if that puts off enough carbon dioxide to off or sequesters enough carbon dioxide to make up for the average home in the area that you want to look at. All right, have fun with this lab.